Welcome to season 2 of Fresh Off the Boat. I'm Arjun, the founder director of Edbrand and College Fair. I'm delighted to be with Yana Mehta. She's a graduate from BD Somani in Mumbai and currently a first year student at UMass Amherst. So, welcome, Yana. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Arjun. I'm Yana Mehta. I'm a freshman in UMass Amherst, and I'm majoring in business management, and I'm doing a dual major in sports management as well. I graduated from BD Somani International School, and before that, I was in JB Pettit High School for Girls.
Great.
So yeah,
And that's
I'm
interesting
very
that you continued your interest in sports. So tell me, when you were sort of trying to walk this journey and sort of apply, what were the key parts of your profile that you really wanted to highlight in your application?
so. I think the things that I worked on the hardest and the most for related to sports that led me to taking sports management would definitely be um, me going to Malaysia in 2019 when I was in BD. That time, I represented India, the Indian women's throwball team, and I captained them. And we went for this tournament in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and we secured the runner-up position, and it was just a great experience overall. So I kind of highlighted that was one of the highlights. And I also did several internships, and there were many other times where, like, I started my startup called Conquer when I was in BD. It was mainly for CAS in the beginning, but then once I got deeper into it, I found that I was very interested in the business aspect of sports. And Conquer is all about, uplifting sports and sportsmen um, that are not really paid too much attention to just put them in the limelight, put them out there so that people know that, because I started off with that kind of a background. Throwball is not really a known sport. In fact, in India, it is a sport in India, but not in many other countries. So after playing internationals, I realized that, no one knows what throwball really is. And even in the US right now, if I go and tell someone, what I play throwball, they'll just be like, oh, what is throwball? So I wondered that whole idea came from when I played international. And that's when I realized that, there must be so many other people like me out there that must be excelling in their particular field, their sport. And they might not be getting that, the limelight or the attention to the sport or the person itself. So we had many events, and we had a lot of workout sessions, and we tried to make it like as fun and interactive as we could. So yeah.
That's really commendable as a 17, 18-year-old sort of doing this and continuing your interest in sports management at college. So when you ended up at UMass Amherst and arrived on campus, what was it like? And tell us a little bit about the business program and even the options to study sports management there.
All right. So I'm in the Eisenberg School of Management. It is now it's become, in fact, even harder to get into the school. The acceptance rate is just 15%. But the people over here, the weather is the only thing that I'd say is very bad. But apart from that, I think the campus is like another home. It's gorgeous. It's really big. And there are like so many things that you can do on campus, whether it's joining clubs or it's just meeting new people through the courses that you take over time. And so the sports management course, I basically started with intro to sports, in which they told me the different industries that I can be a part of as my career later. And I realized that I have so many interests. Like my main interest and focus was the business or the finance part of sports, because I've always been inclined to business management and sports. And then the courses are very like diverse. The people are very diverse. There are people from all over. And it's just, you'll always find people on campus who think like you, think similarly, think a little differently, are from the same places. You'll always find comfort in some way or the other. And that's what I love about the campus over here. And there's always something to do. So you're never sitting idle. Like you'll always have a club you can go for. You'll always have a certain, like a social where you'll meet a whole lot of people and you'll realize that even if they're from different courses or different majors, they still have something like in common with you.
Yeah, so very often students, when they draw up a list with us, it's always about understanding preferences. Size of the student body becomes one of the talking points, and students invariably sort of understand the pros and cons of a large public university like UMass, or even a private school which is mid-size, or a liberal arts college which is, say, tiny. How did you go about researching colleges and understanding what a big university like UMass is all about, even before stepping foot on campus?
So for me, it was always that I was born and brought up in Mumbai, and Mumbai being a huge city with a lot of people, I've always been like a people's person. And I feel like that's something that drew me to going to a big university with like a lot of people. And, you kind of make more connections with people. So my target was always like a big university that offers sports management because I wanted to know more, in fact, about sports management and what I can do in that field because I've always been like extracurricularly based. Like I just want to always see, like try and find my potential in a particular area, and that was sports for me. So I always want to like explore more and get to know more about the industry. So I think that was one of the I'd say pros about UMass, that they offered sports management. It was a big university, a lot of people, students from all places. And while researching, I was confused between the US and Australia initially because Australia also has great sports management courses. But then I narrowed it down even more to see campus life and weather and then everything. And it just turned out that UMass was just the perfect place, perfect people. And once you go into campus, once you come over here, there's nothing that wants to draw you away from it. So I just went with the flow and yeah.
Great, great. I think a follow-up question on that is very often in a large school like UMass, you also find students from your country, your region quite easily. So there is a pros and cons to sort of experiencing that. If you kind of, in a large university, if you get stuck in a bubble of, say, just Indian origin kids, that may or may not be the full experience. So how do you navigate sort of and find opportunities where you get to interact with people from different countries and even the domestic kids?
So that's a great question. Actually, I was going to mention about that earlier. My first semester, it completely like it went in mainly making like my closest friends, all of them being Indians. Like they are my closest friends. We're like a group of Indians, and they're my closest friends because most of them are from Mumbai. Some of them are from other parts of India, like Calcutta and many other places. So I just got along so well with them because we all just related to so many things. We were experiencing the same stuff. But the thing that about UMass, as I can say, the clubs that I'm a part of, like I'm a part of this club called McCormick Student Leaders, which is McCormick is basically the school sports management school. So that club has everyone that is taking sports management. So you automatically go into a club and you meet the people of the same major as you and the people who are going to work in that field, and you just make connections, and then you're able to just talk to them so openly, so freely, and that's how you just make them your friends. So I think clubs is just a great way to go out of that Indian bubble that some Indian kids have, like I had. And because I'm actually a part of I'm actually a part of a lot of clubs, not only one. I'm a part of the University Programming Council as well, where all the concerts and like all the events on campus take place through that club. So I automatically get involved with the whole event management side of it also. So I think it's just a great experience overall to join clubs, and then you just open up to so many other people. And classes also, actually, if you go to see, um, in all my classes, the person sitting on my right and left are always new people. I always choose like a random seat with two unknown people. And then by the end of that class, I'll know their name, I know what their major is, where they're from, and we can do homework together. So you automatically just gel with whoever's around you that way.
Fantastic. And so looking forward to following your journey as you progress in your college years. It's only the end of the first semester. You're now in your second, and I'm sure we'll do a follow-up call in maybe a year from now. So thank you again for joining, Anna.
Thank you so
All the
much.
best.